And every perspective counts. Here is your host, Rebecca Pearson.
All right. Good evening. Welcome to Walk the Herd. Beautiful evening in Lincoln, Nebraska. I think 60, 70 degrees, sunny. It's lovely. I am Rebecca Pearson, and I'm joined by my co-host, Aniko, Renee. This is our second show in our series here on Sunday nights. And if you're listening, we want to make sure that you know you can call or text in to be a part of this conversation at 402-464-5685. And of course, you can always listen to us on YouTube and Twitter. You can watch us on channel 961 with Allo. And we are hopefully going to have another interesting conversation for those who listened to us last week. I'm going to review what the show is all about. We have some special guests we'll introduce here in a minute. But if you're new to the show tonight, just a reminder of what we're trying to do with Walk the Herd, H-E-A-R-D. So each week we want to invite you to walk with us into someone else's world and their experiences, their challenges, and to understand their point of view. Our purpose is simple: to open our minds to how issues and situations look different through different lifestyles, beliefs, and worldviews. Sometimes what you hear may challenge your own thinking, and that's the point. Together, we'll explore topics across sports, business, and life, with a focus on gender and ethnic perspectives that are too often overlooked. So this is your chance to listen, reflect, and maybe even see the world a little differently. So let's walk this path together. Aniko,
Yes,
you're here
ma'am.
in Maryland?
I am. Nice and stormy.
Is it stormy? Oh, no. Okay, well, hopefully we don't lose power.
Oh, no. We're nowhere near that.
Excellent. Okay. Well, I was reflecting even on our discussions last week on street names, and there's a lot in that, but I feel like we had an excellent conversation. We had fabulous feedback from our local community where we were talking about street names and what that perspective brings to the table and how to have a conversation like that when we know people have different perspectives. So tonight we have a special guest. We have Julie Jones Branch and Kaya Branch. So hopefully I said that correctly. We are fast friends. We met this week. But the four of us have very unique perspectives on identity. So tonight is about identity, and we will probably be all over the place in our discussion on identity. But I think it will be thought-provoking, and we want to encourage you to participate. Drop comments into the chat. And if you didn't watch last week, I am Rebecca Pearson, co-owner of 93.7 The Ticket. And Aniko is an entrepreneur, a digital marketing consultant, and so many other things. A very creative gal. So let's start with our introductions. I would like to start with, I guess I'm going to start with Kaya. Okay, so Kaya Branch, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us in studio.
Thank you so much for having me.
So much fun to have you. All right, tell us a little bit about you.
So I am born and raised in Lincoln, but right now I am a sophomore at the University of Kansas, Rock Chalk. I am a business management and leadership major with a minor in public administration and a certificate in entrepreneurship, and I'm pre-law. So I hope to go to law school in the future and pursuing international human rights.
Wow.
Get big.
Okay. Excellent. Well, that's going to be a great lead into our conversation today, I hope. Looking forward to hearing from you. And who's that to your right?
It's my mommy.
My mommy.
Hi. In my professional world, I'm known as Dr. Julie Jones Branch. But first and foremost, I am Kaya's mom, and that's the reason I'm here tonight. But I was born and raised in Franklin, Nebraska, which is a small South Central rural community. Came to Lincoln in 1989 and finished my undergrad and my master's degree are both in child development. And my PhD is in teaching, learning, teacher education with an emphasis on teacher development. I've been a professional in the early childhood field here in Lincoln, Nebraska for over 30 years. I have a strong passion for advocating for early childhood, but also for the issues that we're going to discuss around diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Right.
So
Right.
Yeah.
Now we're a sports station, and we don't often in some of the shows that I host talk only about sports because we have amazing hosts during the week that talk a lot about sports. But the two of you, I believe, are Husker fans.
Just
Very
a little
much
bit.
diehard.
Yes. And you have a couple of athletes in your family, which makes that easier. But because you're from here, I would hope that you'd be Husker fans anyway.
Yeah, there wasn't a choice.
Yes, exactly.
But
So
we're glad to be there.
you understand the athlete mindset at least. And then Kaya, I believe when we were talking, you had mentioned that you were an athlete. What did you play?
I played volleyball and basketball, volleyball since I was 11 to the age of 18,
Mhm.
and then basketball from the age of 8 until the end of high school. So,
Okay. And you went to high school here in Lincoln?
yes, I went to Lincoln Southeast.
Lincoln Southeast.
Go Knights.
Okay. Well, hopefully we have some of your former classmates listening to us. And so we're very glad that the two of you came. You're a mother-daughter duo, and Aniko, for those who don't know, is also my daughter. And hopefully, if you're looking at the screen, we don't all look alike. And this is the great thing about having cameras on a radio program. It's hard to have some of these types of conversations that we're having without the video, but I love having the video in cases like this because you can tell we don't all look alike. And that's what we want to talk about a little bit about today is identity. So let me start. And Aniko, would you like to kick this off? Do you have a question you'd like to use to kick it off, or would you like me to do so?
You can go for it.
Okay. Well, I think as we talked about how do we share perspectives that other people haven't heard, and looking at our four backgrounds, and there's some similarities with rural parts of Maryland, rural parts of Nebraska. We think that when you see the four of us, and maybe when you see the two pairs together, that sometimes people are going to have a perception. Just seeing the two of you together in a store, or if you saw me and Aniko sitting in a room together talking, people might have a perception about you, whatever that is, simply because you don't share the same skin color, right? And we would love to talk about things that you've been exposed to, and particularly, I know you're in school now and you're studying
Yes.
international human rights.
Yeah.
What comes to mind when I just tee that up as what life has been like with a mom with blonde hair and you with dark hair?
I think it comes with a lot of learning curves.
Mhm.
And I know I was very much forced to mature at a much faster rate than it seemed the people around me. And that can be really, really confusing when you're 12 having questions about the meaning of life. So,
Wow.
so that's definitely one thing. But your teenage years, when everyone else is going through their awkward phase, you're going through that awkward phase and you look nothing like the people around you.
Mhm.
And so it adds another layer of uncertainty and distress that you don't know how to navigate, or you can't necessarily pinpoint that that's what you're feeling until you're reflecting back on it.
How long did it take you as a kid, or what's your first memory of maybe having a recognition that you're not the blue-eyed blonde, right? Because you're not looking at yourself in the mirror all day long and saying, "Hey, I'm different," right? You're just you.
Well, I will give credit to my parents on that because they're very much. I always say I've never grown up with a single hateful bone in my body. Like I was very aware of my blackness growing up, and that's a good thing. Like being able to know you're different and different is okay is vital when you're growing up, especially where I grew up in a very predominantly white community. It was extremely important for me to know that. But I think specifically with my peers, when I was 4, my dad had a colleague cookout, and one of the little girls had a playroom nobody could imagine. Like it was enviable by every single little girl at that party. And what was most enviable is that she had racks and racks and racks of Disney princess dresses. And I reached for the Little Mermaid, and she pulled my hand back. I was like, no. This one's for you. And she pointed at the Tiana one. Oh, and so I started sobbing, and I ran up to my mom, and my mom calmed me down somewhat. And we went to the backyard and we played with this big giant ball, and I calmed down. But that was really the first moment of like, oh, I'm not like everyone else. I don't look like everyone else, but I definitely had to grow to figure out that
Mhm.
that is okay.
Now, were you able to put two and two together as to what was going on, or mom, were you having to coach her through that situation? Do you remember?
Well, I would say regretfully that I probably passed it off as
Mm.
not being what it was,
Okay.
and instead trying to sort of, if you will, keep the peace and not like
Yes.
make a ripple in
Right.
this gathering. That I definitely knew what could have been going on,
Right.
that I needed to learn over years to listen more to Kaya
Mhm.
about what her lived experience is,
Sure.
and to really listen and understand what she's trying to communicate to me as subtle things that I would potentially pass off as something else.
Right. And I know as a new mom of a biracial kid, and you have another child as well, that you're learning how to be that.
Correct.
Right. And not living in our white privileged world that we do, I can say this, we haven't had to confront these types of issues. If we just have white children, unlikely they might have had something, but maybe not quite the same context, right? Just somebody protective over their costumes or whatever. But what she said to you is very different if you know which one she suggested. So, Nico, curious from your growing up and childhood, do you have some kind of event like that that happened that sticks in your mind?
I do, but first and foremost, I want to say that there is, you give yourself some grace, both of you, because there is no chapter in what to expect when expecting that says biracial child. I think, that would make things significantly easier, but society is not built for that. As a biracial person, we operate in this gray area pretty much at all times, and there's no belonging necessarily completely from either side. I can remember going to school and wanting to play, Foursquare. I'm telling my age right now, but actually playing outside, and walked up to join, and they said, "You can't play. You don't look like us." And that was like, it was so blunt, so at the forefront, that I just was like, exactly the reaction I have now. Very speechless, but very immediately shamed. I was so ashamed. And I carried that for a very long time. I let it keep me from expressing myself fully or trying to shrink myself to be more palatable to both sides. My whole childhood up until 2020, always had my hair relaxed because I was taught, if your hair is relaxed, white people are relaxed as well. And it took 2020 doing the big chop to really learn how to do my hair, feel comfortable in that. But circling back, I was getting ready in high school to go out to dinner with a bunch of friends. And as soon as I went to walk out the door, my best friend, and I do appreciate her for this, shout out Reshawn, but she lovingly pulled me aside and said, "Girl, I got to show you how to get them bumps out of your hair and smooth it down." Just because I did not know, smaller sections help you, be flat. But it was that loving introduction to there could be an improvement versus the outright "you don't belong" that really caught me off guard.
Hair is such an identifying element for women, even more so than men, I think. Although today I think we could rival that, but certainly generationally, I think women have a higher expectation that their hair is something. Who knows what, because there's so many different hair types. But did you have a lot of pressure, either one of you, to straighten your hair to have that make you feel more one side of your culture or another? Was there what was that like? What is that like?
I would say around like my tween era of life, I was very much, I need my hair straight in order to feel pretty
Mm,
all the time. And I do feel, I like, even now, I still feel really, really pretty with my hair straight, but I also feel really, really pretty with my curls.
mhm.
So it also, I did have to chop my hair off, not as much because I just had like a very small amount of damage from like, I'd say like seventh grade, because I went during COVID. I sat down with myself and I was like, I'm doing nothing. I bet I might as well just figure out how to do my curls.
Mhm.
So I didn't use heat on my hair for like over a year, I'd say. And now I do use heat. I use it sparingly, but like now I know like I don't want to damage my hair.
Right.
So I do it correctly.
Right.
And I give my hair time to reset. But I will say you do get a lot of comments of like, oh, your hair's just so gorgeous. Like
Oh.
you never would have said that to me if I just
Right.
had it, whatever. But you know, it's
Yeah.
also people are seeing you in a different hairstyle too. So also some elements of that, but you probably feel it deeper than the people that are making those comments to you.
Mhm.
So it's
Yeah, it's an important part of our identity in general, right? And Aniko, I know you have many hair stories. Do you have one you want to share?
I do. And again, I want to circle back and say, shout out to you, because the fact that both of us had to wait until we had idle time to seek out this information and to take care of our hair, and it wasn't readily available. It's not required to be taught in cosmetology school to pass. That says something in itself. But I can remember, in the 90s, again, aging myself, always having to be told that I was going to be Scary Spice. And I had already relaxed my hair to try to belong. So then to be put in this role and still not somehow match up to said expectations, I just felt very confused.
I think it's interesting. And Julie, now I'm going to ask you to jump in because I want our perspective and I haven't thought about it. Why and how does the perception that they're different from us come, right? Why do people feel empowered to say something to you about your hair because it's different?
Yeah, I would actually take this back to before I got pregnant with my first child, who ended up being a boy. But knowing that Troy and I were interracial, I received a lot of advice, some lovingly, some maybe not, about, oh my gosh, are you going to be able to do this child's hair if it ends up being a girl? And shamefully, I felt relief when I knew it was going to be a boy first, because I could take him to the barbershop. And that was the biggest hurdle, was learning how to go to the barbershop and be accepted in the barbershop, which I was very easily. But realizing then there was some shame, because I want a little girl. I desperately wanted to be a mother of a little girl. And so then when we found out with the second one, she was going to be a little girl, the excitement also came with fear of, am I really going to be able to move with her in this world in a way that she feels loved, wanted, to feel confident to be in any space? And so those were really the goals I set out with. And it's funny because the whole first year she was bald.
yeah. They all thought I was a boy.
Oh no.
So no issues there. But we were fortunate to come across Petra, who's a small business owner here in town. She's the owner of Sweet Jane's. I feel like I want to give her a shout out.
Absolutely. We're shouting her out.
Yeah, she is biracial herself, and she was referred to us by Hope, who was one of my students at the time at UNL, with lots of curly hair, and she's still my go-to if we need advice. But Petra was so compassionate and so caring. The first time I went in and watched her cut Kaya's hair, she straightened it and cut it straight, and when it was dry, and she said, I don't think you've ever seen this. She was probably 4, because you were getting ready for
I was
wedding,
a little older than
maybe
that.
5.
I think I was 5 or 6.
But anyway, she, I said I didn't know that was possible with her hair. And so she encouraged me to make another appointment and bring all my products in. And so we made another appointment, and she very caringly and nurturing, she took each of the products and said, you don't need that. You don't need this. She said, you have curly hair. She has curly hair. Curly hair is curly hair. And she said, so then she showed me how to section and how to take each piece to work with it. And Kaya, unfortunately or fortunately, has very thick hair and a lot of it like me.
Mhm.
So it grows.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you can.
I'm jealous you have hair.
Yeah.
I have none.
So anyway, we just always feel grateful for those beginnings of the confidence that Petra gave
Mhm.
to us in working with her hair and not feeling any shame about whether her hair was a little bit messy, that she is a
Right.
growing girl, and to give her time to learn how to take care of it for herself.
And it's amazing to me, and I want to come back to how we interpret and why this show is important to me, because we're having a lot of conversation about hair. And if anybody's tuning in, they're like, okay, we're on a sports station, we're talking about hair. Jake's over there going, okay, this is kind of interesting. And yet what it's about is the desire to fit in, the desire to belong, the need to see people that look like you, right? This is why all this comes out, and why people ask questions, why you either feel comfortable or don't. The need for humans to have connection and have belonging, which here in Lincoln, and we talk about this with Aniko, this is a lovely community. And the community loves to learn about perspectives like this. And I think it's important because these are the kinds of things that's our daily life, the four of us, that we're thinking about all the time, that if you aren't in a situation like the four of us, you may not be thinking about this. And this is a whole nother level of energy required. It's a whole nother thing to do as a parent, to be thinking about as a child in school, with all the basics of bullying, just in the base case, or the basics in cliques of friends. I mean, pick one, athletes, no athletes, right? There's all these things that go into this kind of sense of belonging and seeing people that look like you. So
There's such a difference between, I think we kept touching on intent and intention, what that plays into it, because there's a difference between not knowing out of hatred, blind hatred, and just not knowing. My mom's side's from West Virginia, so they are always willing to learn as well, I find. It's just the intent of being curiosity, not how can I put you down?
And not thinking about it again. Last week, if you listened, I shared what is a very embarrassing situation for me, and I'm sure I'm going to say something embarrassing tonight too, because I'm on the learning journey. But I come from a worldview, and now I'm going to call it the Leave It to Beaver family. For anybody of my generation who knows Leave It to Beaver, where I was born, raised, and grew up, and subsequently worked, I didn't have as much exposure as I wished I would have. And in my older age, I want to expose, because that's how people learn. And particularly in a place like Nebraska, where it isn't as diverse as other states, then how does anybody get the natural learning that goes with this? And I wanted to maybe dovetail to Aniko, if you're okay, to have Kaya kind of share some things that she's written. And yeah, I know you're trying to cough. Are you okay? Do you need some water?
Probably, but hold on.
Okay.
Okay.
If you do, we'll go grab you some water.
I think I'm okay.
Okay.
Well, that throat chakra up, girl. Go ahead, right on call. Speak your truth.
When I was a freshman in high school, my actually absolute favorite English teacher of all time, I love her so much, but she gave us the prompt when we were doing our poetry unit. We were given a prompt to write about something in particular, that like a memory. And so with the Tiana situation that I talked about a little bit earlier, I did write a poem about that. But I also wrote a poem about a slam poem about Black girls in schools specifically. And we were given, our requirements were to specifically put stats in the poem, like somehow. And I mean, at the time I was like, how is that going to sound good in a poem? But I figured it out. But at the time, which is, what is that? Like 6 years ago now, Black girls were 6 times more likely to be suspended in schools and 7 times more likely to be suspended more than once. Wow. And the main essence of the poem is that as much as Black girls cry out for help, the male voice always tends to be higher or louder.
Wow.
And I feel like that's a conversation that's been put on the back burner in these past few years. Because, I mean, there are a lot of pressing issues in the world, don't get me wrong. But I think we as a society forget a lot about Black women. Because if you think about it, we're in two of the greatest oppressed groups in the country.
Yes.
But we're both.
Yes.
So how do you navigate walking into a room and you already have preconceived notions from the fact that not only are you Black, but you are also a woman?
Woman. Right. Okay.
Yeah. And I think.
Oh, go ahead, Aniko. We're going to take a break. Say your thing and we'll take a break.
Oh, nope. We're all good.
Okay. We're going to pause on that because that was a great out. We will take a break. We are with Walk the Herd. We will be right back.
Harvest season is coming, and Acres has discounted many of our late model John Deere combines. Get thousands in discounts and upgrade for this year's harvest. Plus, you could save even more with interest rates starting as low as 1.9% on select units. Low interest rates combined with our huge discounts, there's not a better time to buy. Visit acres.com for all the details. That's AKRS.com. Restrictions apply. Offer ends August 31st, 2025. Subject to approved financing. Offer may change at any time without notice.
Hey fans, there's more winning at Amigos with the VIP Game Day giveaway. Every app scan is your chance to win premium tickets to a Nebraska football, basketball, and volleyball game, along with exclusive game day perks. And when Nebraska goes to a bowl, the winner also gets 2 tickets, lodging, and airfare to the bowl game. Weekly semifinalists will win free food for a year. Go Big Red. Eat at Amigos and enter to win.
Amigos is celebrating 45 years with exclusive Nebraska Legends collectible cups featuring Tom Osborne, John Cook, and some of your favorite Huskers. For every cup sold, 50 cents goes to teammates. Show your Big Red pride by getting all 4 of these collectible cups at Amigos.
This is Tom Osborne with the Teammates Mentoring Program. We have students on the waiting list for a mentor. We want you to join the team. Learn more about mentoring and support teammates by visiting Amigos.
An overdose can happen in front of you and you might not realize it. Blue lips, slowed breathing, pinpoint pupils, choking sounds, unresponsive to touch or sounds. These signs aren't always obvious, but they can be deadly. Knowing what to do could save your friend, your neighbor, your child. Learn more by visiting myhealthymind.crediblemmind.com so you can be ready before it happens. This message is funded in part by the CDC OD2A grant.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends.
Limitless Male says, it's all fun and games until your testosterone plummets. Testosterone levels can start falling as early as age 30 with symptoms like no energy, poor sleep, brain fog, belly fat, muscle loss, and mood swings. If this sounds familiar, get your testosterone checked at Limitless Male. We'll get you back in the game with more strength, energy, and confidence. When you feel this good, you'll wonder why you waited so long to get a free consult at Limitless Male. Get scheduled today.
I'm Karen Carr. I've been a realtor for 31 years. When I made a company change 12 years ago, I chose Lincoln First Realty, now NP Dodge. It's the oldest independently owned realty company in the country. Since becoming NP Dodge, we've continued our tradition of community involvement. Our management and staff are always available to offer support in marketing, technology, social media, and educational opportunities.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at doorsplusllc.com. Doors Plus, garage doors and more.
What's better than supporting your favorite radio station and eating delicious Nebraska-made products? Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska wants to highlight you, the listener, on the 93.7 The Ticket Wall of Fame at the store. Stop by the store at 48th and R in Lincoln and see their huge variety of small batch gourmet jerky. Or if you're not in the area and want to try some, go to smokinggunjerky.com and enter code EARLY for 10% off your purchase. It's the ultimate low-calorie, high-protein snack at Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
You're listening to Walk the Herd on 93.7 The Ticket. Here is your host, Rebecca Pearson.
All right, welcome back to The Herd, Walk the Herd. And right before the break, so we're at 93.7 The Ticket. If you want to participate in this conversation, don't forget to text or chat and call in 402-464-5685. And Aniko is on the line with us from Southern Maryland. We are talking to Julie Jones Branch and Kaya Branch. We're having kind of a deep conversation, but it doesn't need to feel so deep that we can't have some fun. And we have a lot of ideas to share, and we hope that you are learning something by doing this with us. I'm having a ball, and I like to learn, and that's why I'm having a ball, even though it's a tough topic. So right before the break, you were just talking about, you walk into a room as a Black woman. Is that how you identify yourself? Or
I would say my dad always says that he's not a unicorn. And I feel like I feel the same way about myself. Like I don't not claim my identity, but I know that people are always going to perceive me however they want to. And I just see myself as Kaya.
Right.
I'm me. And however you want to take that, you can. But I know a lot of things I do don't necessarily conform with one side or the other. So I just have learned to not care as I've grown up.
So we'll come back to walking into a room and being perceived as Kaya. Your mom has a perspective that she would like to share on the name of this poem. So we were talking about the poem that you wrote when you were in high school. And what did that mean to you, Mom? What's it called?
Well, the poem is called The Margin. And I didn't know about the poem until much later. But when I read the poem, it really broke my heart, because being that margin that we don't often see. But on the other hand, when I'm writing and I really want to know about something, I'm always writing in the margin, the most important things. So, but it made me also realize that in many ways throughout Kaya's life, I was putting her in the margin to try to help her, what I thought, navigate both of these social worlds, cultures that she was going to need to walk through. And Aniko, you said something earlier about not fitting in to either side, but I've often and frequently say to Kaya, you don't yet realize your power. And the older you get, you will realize the power you have, because when you are bright, you are just a beautiful person inside and out, but you have the ability, because of the difficulties you faced within each of those cultures, to now walk through them. And as you continue to grow, I want her to just feel so powerful, like with that social capital that she has.
Right. Right. I think I have a lot of faith and a lot of interest in helping the younger generation to have that power and to own it. And Aniko and I have this conversation, and she's owning her power very nicely, and I love that. But we count on this generation to continue to drive the change that hopefully our generation at least tried to embrace. And I feel like the concept of being marginalized is a good one. So we take the margin. It has many connotations to it. Being marginalized, I think, might be interesting to bring back something Aniko and I talked about when we were preparing for this. If you're okay, Aniko, of being identified as biracial or mixed or other terms when you are asked to identify yourself, which we love to do on forums. We love to ask you, do you like to be this, that, and the other thing? So Aniko, would you mind sharing a little bit of your perspective on those kinds of issues?
For sure. I definitely grew up checking the other box. There wasn't always a 2 or more races box, so it's a beautiful step. And I also want to acknowledge, our light skin privilege. We will never know or claim to know what it's like to walk around in a Black or African American woman's body. But the lack of almost compassion or grace makes it even harder to ask for help. And you almost want to shrink yourself a little bit to be palatable or not put a target on your back, essentially. But when I walk into a room now, at 33 years of age, I hope that you see me as a Black woman, because everywhere else, whether it's I'm walking into a bank to get a loan, I'm walking into a room, that strength that is built in, and there is something to be proud of, is something that I'm happy to identify with. And they can look at me and tell I'm not all the way Black too. So then that opens for the conversation.
Well, and if you don't mind, may I bring up the M word that we use?
Yes.
Okay. You used it. I didn't. But I kind of had a reaction to it, right? That you can get comfortable describing yourself as a mutt. And I've heard people say that when they're mixed race, and that's just me. I react negatively to like, oh my gosh, how would anybody want to call themselves a mutt or feel like a mutt, even though mutt dogs are cute? I just feel like assigning that to a person just kind of, makes the hair on the back of my head stand up. How did you come around to referring to yourself that way, and when did you do that?
It's regional. So I've always referred myself that way, even when my mother was having, the talk with me of don't let people call you this word because you are mixed. Because again, regionally, I'm sure in Virginia as well, it's just as common as in Maryland and DC. There are white people who do correct me and say, you're not mixed, you're not a dog. But sometimes there is no other way to describe the mixed experience that we have, the mixed set of skills. It sounds weird in a conversation to say, I'm combination. Like, it doesn't necessarily flow the same way. Yeah, definitely. But I don't think anything defines me. And I think that's part of standing in your power. I am whatever I say I am. But again, intention is a big one. So if someone else said it nasty, then maybe I'd take a stronger look at it.
Well, and it's such a crutch. And I get back to systemic issues. As white people, rarely would we describe ourselves as mutts, and yet we are, because most of us, interesting, my lineage is like ridiculously purebred. It's very, I'm like 99% British. However, I don't know, because I don't know what it's like to be anything else. But, when we looked at my lineage, I was like, oh my goodness, okay, Puritan, whatever. And I came over in the Mayflower and, the whole 9 yards. When I say leave it to Beaver, I'm not kidding. However, we just had a listener fly by. That's great. But, lots and lots and lots of people here in this country are mixed ethnic backgrounds, many from Europe. And even if you are from Africa, you could be mixed, right? So many of us are mixed. And yet the systemic, we are the majority, permeates all of this. And so we force people to identify themselves as something else if they're not the majority. I mean, it's a crazy systemic issue that we have, but it happens in a room. God help you if you're the only Black or biracial person in a room and someone needs to talk about you, they're going to refer to you as the biracial or the Black person to find you, right? I have a conscious game with myself that if I find myself in that situation, I try really hard to describe the person as something else. And it is a handle, it is an easy reference, but I love the challenge of trying to do that, to say, okay, they're wearing this or they do that, right? But unfortunately, it is absolutely habit to do that because they're not the majority. And I find that interesting and yet part of what we need to change. So hearing Kaya and hearing Aniko, sorry, long-winded way of maybe tossing the ball back to you, Julie. I like to hear about the talent that people have. I think it's fun that Kaya's written a poem. Aniko has lots of creativity as well. She writes amazingly, as does her dad. How do you view this from your foxhole when I say things like that? Have you had that experience? How do you manage it in your head?
Yeah, I think it's kind of goes back to the unconscious biases that we have, and how do we become aware of those, and then what do we do with that information once we have it? Because it's not so easy to change a behavior,
right?
Which the thoughts become the behavior that we put into action.
Right.
So I commend you just even for challenging yourself to say, okay, wait a second, let me look a little deeper. But I kind of go back to, you asked something earlier about when Kaya's first memory.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember her being a very small child, and she would say, Mommy, I think when we're out together that if people see us, they would think I don't belong to you.
Right.
And I would say to her, again, this sort of buffering
yes.
for everybody else,
yep.
but also wanting her to feel powerful in her space.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely not. All they'd have to do is look at our faces and they would see that you're mine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And to try to reassure that acknowledgement that she was having.
Right.
But I was recently enlightened that approach really robbed her of what she was actually feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And that's right. And that as just a society, it's very difficult for people to go deeper than what they first see, which is the skin color.
Right.
And so that acknowledgement, how do we go deeper
to
get to the unconscious bias and then change it?
Right. And everybody has bias. So until you become aware of it, and it doesn't have to be bad. It just is, right? You have whatever your view is of how you were raised. I think it might be interesting for the two of you, since you both belong to sororities, to maybe talk about the first time you walked in the room of the other sororities you were looking at, any of the sororities. Like, what was that whole experience like?
I mean,
that's very clicky.
What this is kind of a funny story. I am a member of Chi Omega.
Mm-hmm.
But during my rush experience, I walked out of a house and the house just, like, nothing against them, but it was like I walked out and I told my Rho Gamma, which is like the person that guides you through the experience. I told her I can't go back there. It felt like the Jim Crow era. And she was like, okay.
Enough said, yeah.
Like, I got it. She's like, I get it. And I was like, okay. But I would say I had an extremely great experience going through it. Like, I've never felt singled out in my sorority at all.
But when you found the one you wanted to be a part of, you wanted to be a part of it. And why was that?
Well, I knew that this was right for me and how I wanted my college experience to be, because a lot of people will ask you, like, why did you not go Divine 9? Why did you choose to go Panhellenic? And I am the most type A person on things like this of all time. I did my research and I chose what I thought was best for me. And my college experience has been about finding what I like to do and not conforming to what I'm quote unquote supposed to be doing.
Which was what?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't really know. Everyone's trying to figure that out, what they're supposed to be doing.
But you felt a sense of belonging.
Yes. Like, yes. Even through the whole experience, I felt like, a lot of people want me to be in there.
These are my people.
Yeah. A lot of people want me to be here. A lot of people, even in all the other sororities that I was walking through, like, the one sorority was the only bad experience that I had for the whole week. And now I've been able to get into leadership opportunities through my sorority. Yesterday, I just got paired up with a mentor in my sorority to help me with professional development. Like, I have so many more opportunities, and that's exactly what I wanted to set up for myself. So
fun. And it has some leadership kinds of things too, this sorority, right?
Yes.
I don't know all these sororities. I didn't belong to one.
I'm on like our junior exec board.
Okay.
Basically.
I was anti-sorority. That was me. We're not talking about me. Nico, what was your experience and why'd you pick the sorority you picked?
I would like to say starting, I went to a college in West Virginia, so they didn't even have the Divine Nine because I did not identify or feel safe in my Blackness. That's no responsibility to anyone else. I had Black friends. I have obviously Black family, but I felt like I was a fraud somehow, almost a little bit. So I had a great rush experience. I joined Alpha Sigma Alpha, but looking back on it now, I don't speak to any of my sorority sisters. Our views just don't align as things have changed the past few years. And I really wish that that weren't the case because I did join as well for leadership opportunities. I was philanthropic chair and housing chair for the time that I was there. But it didn't click in my brain until one of our first ceremonies where you're standing in a room in all white with only all other white women saying these chants. I was kind of like, is this what I want for me? And for some people, they have the true friends that, Kai is describing and true connection, but that just was not my experience. Doesn't take away from it. I love those girls, but we just don't, I can't stand in my power and let them chip away at who I am and the beliefs I have.
And I think that's a great place to maybe take a break. I'd like to come back and talk about who you actually are. We can leave this topic somewhat behind and talk a lot more about who are we, who are our identities, and how did we evolve to get to where we are. So this is Walk the Herd with Aniko and Rebecca. We'll be right back.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
Give your furnace a break with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Heartland of Nebraska Windows offers a free estimate, full window replacements, all vinyl triple pane windows, and a lifetime warranty of everything, while still keeping their prices affordable. Sounds too good to be true, right? Heartland of Nebraska Windows is locally and family owned with their own team of installers. Give the window experts at Heartland of Nebraska Windows a call today at 402-430-3852 or visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Elevate your home or business with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows today.
A1 Automotive's second location is now open at 5110 State Hill Drive, just off of Yankee Hill Road. The new location continues to specialize in all makes and models and provides personalized service as they have for 15 years. With the school year here, A1 Automotive reminds you that college students get 10% off any service, and they offer free tire repair with a valid college ID. Schedule your appointment today at a1autolincoln.com and visit their new location in South Lincoln at 5110 State Hill Drive or downtown at 11th and L.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help you get the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Call the trial attorneys you can trust. 877-42-LIBERTY.
You're listening to Walk the Herd on 93.7 The Ticket. Here is your host, Rebecca Pearson.
Welcome back to Walk the Herd. This is Rebecca Pearson and Aniko Renee and our special guests, Julie Jones Branch and Kaya Branch. And we are having a really great conversation. I hope you guys are enjoying it. I know it's kind of maybe your first time, at least on air with us, talking about wonderful issues of making sure that the unheard are heard and sharing all perspectives. And we did find out we had somebody chat in and send us a question. So Jake, if you can read us the question, we're going to try to answer that.
Yeah, absolutely. From Peter Ferguson here for Julie and Rebecca. You've both shared openly about your experiences. What is one of the greatest joys you found in raising or supporting a biracial daughter?
I mean, it's tough to put into just a succinct statement. But I would say one of my greatest joys is watching her grow and develop into this, I already knew she was strong, beautiful woman. But seeing her grow and develop and be able to articulate who she is in the world and to enlighten me, and that she's allowed me into that space with her, to grow in the journey with her.
Yeah, I think we'll both try not to cry here, but I came into Aniko's life. We actually talked about this yesterday when she was 15. So I did not raise Aniko, and I didn't remember that I had met her in high school, but she did. And we were talking about this. I think one of the greatest joys is, completely impressed by her natural talent that has nothing to do with her being biracial. Just a brilliant kid with an incredible amount of grace and incredible, I'm going to cry, capability to communicate and to influence and to be able to have girls that have grown up with what they've grown up with and be able to carry that message out and be able to help change the world, right? Very rewarding. So,
Peter also had a question for Kaya and Aniko. What's something that brings you hope or makes you feel celebrated in your everyday life?
Do you want me to go first? I can go first.
Go for it.
Give you a minute to think.
Yeah. I would say, well, one of the things that I know I would have loved as a little girl is representation. So like The Little Mermaid, the live action,
Yeah.
I was 17 when that dropped, and I cried when the teaser trailer dropped. So seeing little girls and little boys who are able to look up to me, and I've always said, like, I want to be the person that I did not have when I was younger. And so if I need to go and be uncomfortable in a space, then I will do that in order to make room for other people who look like me. So I think probably that.
Love that. Aniko, you get the final word on this.
All right. That was a beautiful answer. And I too cried at that trailer, and representation absolutely is so important and still is, just putting that out there. I would say that both our moms and my biological mom's ability to accept our opinion and feelings as fact over time and truly embody and walk and change other people's perspectives, and to be able to have these conversations without it immediately being shut down by guilt or shame, and truly just trying to walk in someone else's shoes. The best hope. It's awesome. And I'm trying not to cry now too, but.
All right, we're not allowed to all fall on air in our last minute. So thank you, Aniko. And, I think this is a powerhouse group. So I was saying to Julie, and I spoke earlier this week, I feel like our paths were supposed to cross. Sometimes you can't articulate why you meet. So we can thank Pete. Hopefully you're still listening, for introducing us. But the power that's in the room and on the phone, the power that's around us, the power that Jake gives us with his ability to control the mic and let us be heard, and for Pete seeing what he sees, and for all the people that are listening and all the people that will hear this as we post clips from this, thank you for listening. Thank you for being open. And thank you to our very special young future generation sharing how you feel and carrying the torch forward. So with that, I will close us out for this episode of Walk the Herd, where the unheard are heard, and walk with the herd and don't run with the herd, as HERD. This is 93.7 The Ticket. Rebecca and Aniko, we'll talk to you next week.
Wiso Construction is now hiring for skilled craftsmen, steel erectors, concrete workers, and general laborers.